So a lot of people talk about spiritual healing, and a lot of people also want to spiritually heal. But due to the fact that it's not always taught properly, they get it misunderstood. Like, for example, energy healing is not inherently spiritual healing. It isn't. Now, what is spiritual healing? That is what we're going to talk about. And we're also going to talk about how to begin doing it for yourself. So that way you don't need to feel like you got to go to some type of external spiritual healer. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. No one can truly spiritually heal you besides yourself. And I'm going to explain why. Now, real quick, if you don't know me, yo, what's good? It's your boy Dot from Dot Me Now Coaching and Entertainment. For coaching, my links are down below. In fact, I actually offer certain services that allow me to help you with your healing journey by scanning your energy, telling you what's right and what's wrong with it, and how to also improve it and keep it protected. I used to do energy healing, and if we have a conversation and we talk about it, I might still do it for you, but it's not on my website anymore. The healing is not on my website because a lot of people don't really understand how energetic healing works and how to properly do spiritual healing. So, yeah, but if you want, some advice about how you can heal yourself by me looking at your energy and stuff like that, I have, services for that down below. If you're new to this channel, subscribe, like this video if you haven't already, and let's get right into this video. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is what actually is spiritual healing. Spiritual healing is healing that is of the spirit, because spiritual means to be of the spirit. Spiritual healing is not inherently energy healing, and also spiritual healing is not the process of healing your spirit, since your spirit cannot be damaged. What's being healed is more or less your connection to your spirit. And one thing that can help you with connecting to your spirit is energy healing. But we need to understand that energy healing is the process of trying to heal energy, whether it's the pain that comes from energy or the blocks that come from energy. You're trying to get rid of those essentially. But energetic healing does not always solve the issue because all issues first start inside of one's consciousness. Like, for example, a person who needs to lose weight, yeah, they got to lose weight, but also they have an identity of somebody who eats a lot of food and they cannot control their consciousness enough to not give in to eating food. You know what I'm saying? If someone has an addiction, it's inside their consciousness first. Yeah, it could be an energetic attachment, but even if you remove the attachment, the energetic attachment could just come back if that person does not first change their consciousness. So spiritual healing happens on 5 levels, right? Physical, energetic and emotional, astrally, right? And when it comes to astrally, this is more about your self-image and your character. Then you have mentally, right? This deals with your thoughts and your beliefs. It could deal with your memory, but memory is also very heavily astral because memory deals with like actually seeing things, but memory could be just emotional memory, thought memory, visual memory. So yeah, my point is though, there's that. And then the last level is the level of your consciousness, right? Now understand that if you could heal your consciousness, you would naturally heal all other levels. How do you heal on the level of your consciousness? You learn how to simply just observe your spirit again. And it's that simple. And if you constantly observe your spirit, everything else will change because your spirit is going to make you think differently. It's going to give you a different self-image. It's going to change how you perceive your memories. It's going to change your character and stuff like that, right? This is what your spirit will naturally do. It's going to also change your energy and your emotions, and it's going to change your actions. So if you were able to observe your spirit for long enough, you would be healed on every single level. The issue is that most people have certain blocks which prevent them from perceiving their spirit as easily as somebody who doesn't have as many blocks. And these blocks can come in the form of beliefs. They could come in the form of your personality and your character and what you identify with. They could come in the form of your thoughts. They could come in the form of how you perceive your memories and how you also imagine your future and stuff like that. They can come from energetic blocks, you know what I'm saying? And emotional blocks, because energetic blocks come from emotion, by the way, essentially. They can also come from physical blocks, right? So there's these five, so these blocks happen on the five main levels of physical, energetic and emotional, astrally, mentally, and causally, aka on a quote unquote soul level. You know what I'm saying? Really, the soul's not being blocked, but it's like more of one's consciousness, because your consciousness is the awareness of your awareness. Your awareness is your soul, and then your consciousness is how aware are you of your soul, right? So you can say that your soul is your consciousness, or it'd be better to say that consciousness is a state that your soul can be in. But if your soul is unaware of itself, it starts to fall victim to the ego and the personality. When the soul begins to observe itself and then the higher spiritual energy which is connected with, then it realigns itself back with spirit and its highest form of expression, right? So with that being said, when it comes to energy healing doesn't always solve the issue, because if you have like an energetic pain, right, and then I do some energy work and I heal that pain, yeah, that pain may be gone, but it might just come back either in the same place or in a different area. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if you go to the doctors, right? Because you had a certain kind of cancer. You know what I'm saying? And then you go to the doctors and they get rid of the cancer, but you don't change your way of life. You still have a horrible diet and stuff like that. So because of that, the cancer comes back. And it might come back in a whole different place, but the cancer still comes back. The only way it's going to stop coming back is if you actually do the work to heal something. You know what I'm saying? Same with, like, let's say like you have a calcium deficiency. So now you have weak bones, right? Now you go to the doctor because you broke your arm. You know what I'm saying? Now the doctor could fix your arm. You know, the doctor may fix your arm and everything like that. But the problem will not be fully solved until you stop becoming calcium deficient. You know what I'm saying? Until you have more calcium inside your body, your bones will still be fragile. And now you may come back to the doctor when your leg breaks. The first time it was your arm, now it's your leg. This is what energy healing does. When you try to heal somebody's energy, or when someone tries to heal your energy, but you don't address the root problem on the level of your consciousness, all that's going to happen is that it's going to come back. Like, let's say that you have a block inside of your heart chakra, right? I can try to clear the block, but the block is going to come back if you still hold hateful beliefs. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I can't just energy away your beliefs. It can make it easier. Like, when the energy is cleared, you're less likely to tap into those thoughts. Because when the energy is there, you're just super focused on the energy and the thoughts attached to that energy, right? But if I clear the energy, you're not going to think the thoughts as much. But you're still open to that if you still identify with those types of thoughts. So what's going to happen is that the thoughts will just come back and they're going to build up over time, then cause that block again. This is why people can clear their blocks and they get reblocked up, because they're not healing on all levels, you see? So how does one really begin spiritual healing? This is where the chakra system comes into play. But understand that you can't just focus on the chakras, but also begin to learn the different organs which the chakras are associated with, because traumas are stored inside of your body, right? When you meditate on a certain chakra, you're tapping into that energy, but it brings up stuff also inside the physical body from your physical organs, depending on what organs that chakra and that energy is linked to. You see what I'm trying to say? So when you focus on your chakras, you get to bring up the energies, the emotions, and the thoughts which are associated with whatever that energy deals with, right? So the root chakra deals with like your fears, your insecurities and stuff like that. And it's going to bring up these thoughts and these emotions. When that happens, you need to observe them, find out their origin. Why do I think this way? How can I stop thinking this way? begin to actually program your chakras with new thoughts. But not just the thoughts, also tap into the consciousness, right? What is the consciousness of feeling secure? I can't just say I'm secure when I don't really believe that I'm secure. So if you feel like you're not secure, find out why you feel that way and then find ways to disprove why you don't feel secure. Or simply just add the things which you need to feel secure. For example, you may feel insecure because maybe you can't defend yourself physically. If that's the case, learn to defend yourself physically. I bet you'll feel more secure. Sometimes you do need to actually do things in the physical, right? Because once you change the consciousness, right, you'll naturally act differently. If you say, if you're like, yo, I don't feel secure because I think I can't defend myself. What you need to do is switch to the consciousness of, wait a minute, I can't defend myself. And if you start thinking that, you'll start doing things in the physical to build your ability to defend yourself. If you think, oh yeah, I can fight, now you're more likely to practice fighting, right? You know what I'm trying to say? And I ain't saying fighting people in the world. I mean like fighting like at your crib, at a boxing gym, Muay Thai, MMA, whatever the heck. You know what I'm trying to say? This is one example. You can also feel insecure because you think that you're not physically attractive. Okay, boom. How could you boost your physical looks? But then also, what more do you have besides gesture looks? You know what I'm trying to say? So you need to, meditating on chakras helps, but it's also about the actual traumas that are stored inside the organs which get associated with the chakras. You could also play certain frequencies for the chakras and certain frequencies for your organs and things of that nature, because it's mainly all about changing your consciousness via what you're observing and what you identify with, which is going to affect what you believe and how you tend to think, which is going to affect your self-image and your character and your personality, which is going to affect your emotions, which is going to affect your actions. But you need to change that consciousness. And it is sometimes good to get physical healing or energy healing, because when those things are cleared away, it makes it easier for you to focus on the thing you want to focus on. Because if there's a whole bunch of dense energy around you, you're more focused on the dense energy. But if you clear out the dense energy and then focus on obtaining higher vibrational energy while also being aware of the causes of you generating and attracting dense energy, if you do all of that, right, once the energy gets cleared off of you, you'll do the proper things to make sure that you never ever build that energy again or get caught up with other people who have that energy which gets attached to you. You see? So, yeah, I'm not against energy healing, but I am against doing it when you think that it's the end all be all. Because even if that problem comes back 5 years later, it's going to come back. Unless you change the consciousness, right? Because you need to also work out the karma. And you work out the karma by changing your consciousness. Because a lot of karmic things manifest as blocks, right? Because what's a karma? A karma is just a certain action which you did inside the past. And because you did certain stuff inside the past, you have blocks. And if you don't work out that karma, right, those actions which is be laying inside you, constantly acting out over and over again. Like if it's a mental action, a certain thought's going to keep on playing, over and over again. Now you have a mental block, which will eventually affect your energy and stuff like that. You see what I'm trying to say? So until you clear that karma by dissolving your attachment to that action of repeating that thought, you're going to keep on having that thought and building the energy and messing yourself up. You see? So to truly begin spiritually healing, you need to learn to actually observe your spirit. Okay? You need to actually be able to get in tune with your spirit. And sometimes doing certain healing practices can make it easier for you to get in tune with your spirit. But the end all be all is getting in tune with your spirit. Because that's all spiritual healing is about. Healing that is of the spirit to reconnect you to the spirit, because there are certain things blocking you from being in tune with your spirit. And now you're trying to clear out those blocks, whether it's on a physical level, emotional level, energetic, mental, so on and so forth. You see what I'm trying to say? So, yeah, bro. If you guys need some assistance with your healing, definitely book a session. I can tell you what to do specifically for you, whether it's eat a different diet or play these frequencies or do these meditations. If I do a reading on you, I could easily tell you what to do for yourself. But you could easily do this for yourself, my guy. You don't need me. We could all heal ourselves, you know? So yeah, we're natural healers. Like, your body naturally heals itself. You're a natural healer. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm gonna end this video though. I love you all. Catch my next video. Peace. The freak.